The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
You know that I personally have a friend in the army who told me recently a story. He said, you know that to protect the borders of a country is almost impossible. You can put up all the barbed wired fences you want. You can put up cameras. You can do everything you want, but you cannot protect every inch of the borders of Israel or any country. Take a look at the United States. With all their wonderful advanced technology. And every day, thousands of Mexicans somehow or other come over the borders. And they can't stop it. They can't. It's very difficult to protect the borders of a country, to stop the terrorists, the outsiders from infiltrating and coming in. A friend of mine who's a Mishmar HaGvul, he's one of those guys that go in jeeps and they drive around the borders of Israel trying to protect her borders as best as the IDF physically can. He tells me that one night, he says this was a miracle beyond miracles. He says they were driving by the, down by the Dead Sea, right along the border of Israel, Lebanon. And little did they see, little did they know, there was a small tube boat, like a raft. In it was 12 terrorists. The raft was black. The terrorists were dressed in black from head to toe. They were loaded up with machine guns, hand grenades. They were floating right up to the beach, right there by the Dead Sea. They pulled in their raft very quietly. They started walking and creeping up towards the border, towards the fence. As they were getting over the fence, min hashamayim, the jeep just happened to drive by that spot. And literally at that second, and he tells me that they don't drive by that spot for intervals about an hour and a half to 2 hours. That means if they would have been 5 minutes early, these guys would have gotten into Israel, fully loaded, machine guns, grenades and all. Terrorists. And what they would have done would have been has v'shalom, lo ye'uman, to even think of what they could have done. Just as these guys happened to be jumping the fence, this jeep that comes around every 2 hours happens to drive by this spot with a big, huge floodlight. They shined the light on the fence, and these 12 guys were hanging over the fence in a very awkward position without being able to really do much. These 4 Israeli soldiers jumped out of their jeeps, jumped onto the microphone, grabbed these 12 guys. They caught them all in a very vulnerable position, getting over a fence, threw them down grabbed all their ammunition, arrested them, brought them in, and it was a big thing in Israel. What did the Israeli papers say? Kol hakavod lachayalim. Wow, kol hakavod to the Israeli soldiers. Yes, no question. Kol hakavod to the Israeli soldiers. They put their lives in harm's way for Klal Yisrael. There's no question about that. But you know what the Israeli soldier told me? The guy that was in the jeep? He said, kol hakavod laHashem. What are the chances that there happens to be the second they were coming over the fence, we happened to drive by and grab him without even a fight? Why? Because they were hanging over the fence. They were in a very vulnerable position. They couldn't even defend themselves. You have to know who's on your side. You have to know that we have the greater force. You have to know that we have the bigger one behind us, protecting us. That's Borei Olam. And therefore never to look back, never to second guess on our Avodat Hashem with the worry and the fear of what if. When you know Borei Olam is with you, says Moshe Rabbeinu, you'll walk right up to Paro and you'll have no problem. This is what Rabbi Yaakov Emden said. He said that the greatest, or one of the greatest miracles of history, greater than Kriyat Yam Suf, greater than the 10 Makot, one of the greatest miracles in history is the miracle of the Jewish people, Am Yisrael. The fact that we are still around today. Every generation, they got up to try to wipe us out. B'chol dor vador omdim aleinu lechalotenu. But you know who's on our side? We have the greater force. We have the bigger one on our side. V'akadosh baruch hu matzilenu mi'adam. Every single time. Don't forget who you have on your side.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org